Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Throwing the Bones by Catherine. I think it said Ironwood. So I have already done a review live a couple years ago for this book and Bone Shells and Curios, but I really just want to touch on this since I have read this book cover to cover, and I refer people to it a lot. It's a really good book, and it's one of the few books written on the topic, although I have purchased some more recent ones, and I will review those when I get through them. But just very briefly, this book is a very good history and introduction to osteomancy of all types. So please don't be like, oh, this is close to my culture. Actually, she goes through tons of cultures throughout history and how they used osteomancy, because most indigenous people didn't want to waste any part of the animal. And so most cultures utilize the bones in some fashion, and most have some sort of divination around the bones. So everything from dice and dominoes to what we think of as conjure bone throwing, shells, cowrie shells. We have the scapula, scapula divination. She goes over quite a few of it. So just really briefly, this is the table of contents. There is slaughter bone oracles, varieties, the bones. So without fire, with fire, field bone, furculomancy, ancient China, modern Labrador, mathematical systems like binary 1, which is like tosses. I Ching is multiple binaries. So I Ching, Obi, Hakata, Dilagun, polyhedral bone tossing, so like dice, which she covers like at least 5 different types of dice divination. Sortilege with bones, so like dominoes, room bones, so gypsy, Yoruba. I don't know if gypsy is very polite, but this book was written, not that recently, 2012. I don't know. So I'm literally just reading what it says. Spirit-led interpretive bone reading. So one single species, so like Persian, possum bone, chicken bone, and that's like Appalachians. She goes into a lot of that. Reading the bones with mingled species, which is what I practice and what many people think of these days when they think of throwing the bones. Symbolism of the bone within the bodies, bones by species, items crafted from bones, non-bone items crafted from other materials, symbolism of items that are not bones, containers, bowls, baskets, bag, goat hides, just really, and a lot of historical information. This is not going to be really a how-to guide. This is going to be like, it has been done here this way. It has been historically, a lot of information, which I feel like was extremely helpful, because I feel like a lot of people are called to engage in this work and feel at a loss in our current very aggressive pagan culture where we eat our young, where we eat people who are trying to learn. It's a two-way street. Number one, experienced practitioners are super aggro sometimes, and bone throwing is not something that you can easily just Google. But that's going to be the response to a lot of people. And then the other part to play is that some new practitioners want everything fed to them. And so that feeds this vicious cycle of like not respecting the nurses. Same thing there. Nurses eat their young. But the witches who it's kind of like our duty to teach and to guide. Like, you can complain all day long about how much you hate witch talk and how pagan social media is garbage and how our social media is toxic. But the fact of the matter is, we're responsible for, experienced practitioners are responsible for guiding the culture. And so if you just say, go Google it, and Witch Talk creates a resource that may not be factual, but at least it's a resource that they can access pretty easily, and then you get mad that the information is incorrect, it's kind of a vicious cycle. It's kind of like baby boomers always complaining about millennials. It's like, you're fucking parents. You raised us. Hello, this is your problem. But I digress. Long story short, oh, she also has tea leaf symbols. Long story short, this is a really good book to give you some information, to give you an idea of what is out there. And then from there, you're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to put in the work to research and to acquire and to find out what it is that you want. So here are some of my favorite pages. So because I have a farm, and there ends up being, when you raise animals, there ends up being quite a bit of death. And I personally want to use every last bit of the animal that I can. And so bone divination really makes sense for me, because then I get to honor that animal in a whole nother way. And so that's really important to me. We don't waste any part of the animal, any animal that dies here in Hound Dog Hollow. So what I like about this is, like, here's the body parts, like astrological correspondences, but also like this generally means this. So that's a really good resource to get you started. Symbolism of bones by species is another good resources. Non-bone items. So like some people in their kits have shells, seeds, nuts, claws, horns. Some people keep bells, keys, coins. Some symbolism of not bone items, which is just great. This is really good. But the fact of the matter is, some people hate on this book because they want it to be just like, do this, ABC, and this means this, and this means this, and this means this. But this is not tarot, and this is not astrology, and this is not a system per se. This is going to be so unique, because the idea really is that when you're throwing the bones in this manner, you are receiving messages from deity. And so your ancestors are going to speak to you in a way that's so unique and so personal that there's no way that Catherine can lay it out for you any more detailed that's going to be sensical to most people. Because really, this is just a method of communion between you and your dead and your spirit guides. And your deities and your angels and your saints and whoever else is helping you with your work, because we are not, yes, the magic is in us, but I mean, we're working, divination is about connecting with these other energies that are going to give us a little hand, because humans have this narrow view of vision and our spirit guides can see like the whole field. So it's really a means for you to connect with your dead so that they can give you messages, and that's going to be really personal. So she gives really good historical and general information for you to start working a practice. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to, you probably can get a bone kit either from her business, the Lucky Curio Company, or on Etsy, where they have a ton. And then you're going to have to work with your bones and talk with your bones and sleep with your bones and journal about your bones and practice with your bones until they speak to you. And that's it. Lovely book. I love it. 5 out of 5. Really great. Highly recommend it to you if you want to get started. Not the only book by any means. I have 3, if not 4, maybe 5 books on the topic, but this one's probably one of the best references that I have, and I highly recommend it to you. I'll leave a link in the description below. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.